Come in, Ray.
This is Jack Burton in the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening.
Calling the War Council of Gallifrey. This is the Doctor.
I am Iron Man.
Tell me. Do you bleed?
Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to the Following the Nerd Show. I'm done. I'm out.
What?
Thanks for listening. Bye bye. I'm so tired. Sunday. I stayed up to stupid o'clock watching a live stream of The Walking Dead because it was Rick Grimes' last episode, which has been promoted like crazy. So if you message us and go, "Oh, spoilers," get a life. So yeah, I put a post up about it saying, really? "Oh well, farewell, Rick Grimes. It's been nice having you. Wild." And there's people commenting on it going, "Oh, dude, spoilers!" And it's like, AMC promoted this as Rick Grimes' last final 5 episodes. This was episode 5. Grow up.
It's always the way. There's always someone has to complain.
You are, of course, listening to Following the Nerd. So yeah, stayed up super late to watch The Walking Dead, and I gotta tell you, man, brilliant episode.
Yeah, you've been saying this entire series has been
this
good.
Entire series so far, season 9 of The Walking Dead, has been fantastic. I haven't seen The Walking Dead this good in years. I think series 3, I want to say, but even then it was quite shaky. I think this is one of the best series of The Walking Dead we've had yet.
So do you think that there is a future for it?
Definitely, yeah.
You think so? Because
it's so bizarre now, because it feels like The Walking Dead's a different show. Because there's no Carl anymore, there's no Rick anymore, Andrea's not in it anymore. Well, and again, spoilers for the comics, Andrea's not in it anymore either. And it feels like such a different show now. In fact, It's so bizarre because I read the comics and I watch the TV show. And in the comics right now, they've just sort of been introduced to the Commonwealth, which is like this big, huge city that they've walled off and made sort of zombie safe and everything. And the leader of that community has met Rick and went around like the sanctuary and the hilltop and everything. And there's a scene where they go to the hilltop where Carl is staying.
Yeah.
And Carl sees his dad coming to the gates. Carl runs out and he's like, "Dad, Dad, Dad," and the two of them hug. And I was sitting reading it going, "Oh yeah, I forgot Carl was still alive in the comics."
Yeah.
So it feels like such a bizarre disconnect. Like, they're both called The Walking Dead, and they're both about zombies and the apocalypse, and it feels like two completely separate entities now.
That's the thing, is because the one worry is when you take the main characters out of it, will it still feel like tank?
The same? I personally don't think it will.
You think they will?
There are a lot of naysayers online at the moment, and I've seen them. I've read through different comments and what have you, because I'm just miserable, and I like to fuel that misery by reading comment sections on things.
You poor
and
guy.
Obviously, as we've discussed on this show 1,000,001 times before, the comment section is where all the negative people, all the naysayers get together to shout the loudest.
Yeah.
So everyone in the comment section is going like, "Oh, this show's dead. I'm not watching it anymore. Rick Grimes is not in it anymore. Carl's not in it anymore. It's stupid. Don't like the show anymore." And give it a chance.
Yeah, that's the one thing, is like anything. Just enjoy it. Be happy that it's being made. It's still continuing. Because they could, if they wanted to, they could just end it after the main characters go. But that's some shows do that. But with Walking Dead, to be fair, I thought it would. I actually did think that once...
that's it, it's
well,
gone.
Think about it this way. This is the main story. You followed all the way up to now. And... yeah, you get emotionally connected with these characters, and then when the people you're emotionally connected to are gone, it feels like a bomb went off.
Yeah,
and you're just you're just all over the place.
Well, look, I'll tell you this right now: Angela Kang, she's the new showrunner. She's the new creative umbrella which covers all of the Walking Dead as a TV show now. She should have taken over years ago.
Really?
Because I gotta tell you now, All Out War in the comic books, which is the war against Negan and the Saviors, that's one of my all-time favourite story arcs in the Walking Dead comic. And what's so great about the Walking Dead comic is that it just keeps getting better and better and better. The TV show, whenever it came to time to do All Out War, they got it so wrong. It felt so tired and so slow. Whereas with Angela Kang, right? So in the Walking Dead comic, you have All Out War. Then you have A New Beginning, which is a nice little kind of slow burn lead up to the Whisperer War.
Yeah.
And that, for me, was one of the most dull sections of the comic. That's where they are now.
So they're right here.
With the TV show. It's fantastic.
Oh, okay.
It is so good. It feels so fresh. It feels so new. All the characters have something to do, because here's a big problem I had with the Walking Dead TV show for the longest time. They would have an episode dedicated to what's going on with Rick and Michonne. They'd have an episode dedicated to what's going on with Maggie. They'd have an episode dedicated to Tara. Who's Tara? I hear you cry. And it just felt so damn flat. Because with each episode, you were going, oh, this week's one, this is a Eugene episode, who cares? And this one's, oh, this is a Daryl episode, this should be quite good. But whereas now, they don't do that. They have like little kind of, like each episode is broken up into little tiny sections, so you see what's going on at the Hilltop, you see what's going on at Alexandria, you see what's going on with the Saviors.
Yeah.
And it makes the pacing a lot quicker, it makes the action a lot more exciting, and it makes the world feel bigger.
Well, that's actually good to hear, because like that was my one worry, was that main characters go, that's the show basically dead.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Rick Grimes' emotional send-off later on in the show, just so if people are listening right now that haven't seen it or whatever, what's wrong with you? Get it watched. But we'll hold off, because we've got some news regarding The Walking Dead coming up later on tonight in one of our top stories. But for now, we'll leave it be.
Hi, I'm Paul Feig, director of Ghostbusters Answer the Call, and you are listening to Following the Nerd.
Kia ora. I'm Tim Wood Morrison, I play Django Fett, and I'm following the nerd.
This is Following the Nerd. I'm Saxon.
And I'm Two Penny.
And we're going to talk about Star Wars. We always talk about Star Wars on this show. We heard a couple of months ago that Matt Smith was joining the filming for Star Wars Episode 9.
Oh, I thought that was a prank.
To be titled. No, he's in it.
It's actually not a wind-up.
He's actually in it. And for ages, we were thinking, now, Matt Smith, British guy in Star Wars, he's going to be a bad guy, isn't he?
Yes.
Like you can see him being on the bridge of a Star Destroyer shouting orders.
That would be really cool.
Apparently not.
What?
There's some stories going around at the moment, and we've reported it here on Following the Nerd. Is Matt Smith playing a major original trilogy character in Star Wars Episode 9?
What?
Now, bear with us on this one and take it with a major handful of salt. But Matt Smith's role in Star Wars Episode 9 might be a big one. So, on the latest Weekly Planet podcast, the guys on there say they've heard from a source close to the movie that Smith may be playing Emperor Palpatine.
No.
As a young man.
No.
Well, they did say treat this as unlikely. So, how could this happen? Well, a most likely way would be to have a flashback scene focusing on a young Palpatine. However, we've also heard that Hayden Christensen may also be back as Vader/Anakin, so perhaps we'll see them together as Sith ghosts, or maybe in another way. The guys speculate in the podcast that the one way that might happen is that the Rebels introduce the concept of time travel in the Star Wars universe in the final season, which is, of course, the animated show Rebels. And it actually featured Palpatine, so perhaps he's a presence in the future timeline. Honestly, we have our doubts, but remember too that in the original EU canon, Palpatine has clones of himself.
Yeah.
So could Abrams' rumoured course correction for the franchise see it going down this road? So, for the record here at Following the Nerd, we'd love to see Smith play a young Snoke. I get a bit of backstory on Snoke. That'd be cool. But Palpatine, that is the strong rumour at the moment.
That would be very exciting if they are going down that road of making a clone of Palpatine. That I would be really, really happy.
Well, I think you're more well versed in the original expanded universe of Star Wars than I am. So how did this whole Palpatine clone thing come about?
So Palpatine I think he used from what I can recall, he used the clone planet where they made the clone troopers.
Oh, Camino.
And he had these different clone bodies. But what he used was his soul, like his spirit, would go in and possess the clones. But what happened, problem with it was he rapidly aged. So the Emperor that we know, he would look very young and then age to the Emperor.
And look like Ian McDermott. Yeah.
And they'd have to then jump from one clone to another clone. So they weren't like, he wouldn't jump into one clone, that would be it for the rest of his days. It would slowly and gradually get weaker and deteriorate, so we'd have to move from one clone to another one. And eventually Luke Skywalker destroyed them all. But yeah, it's like if they go down that road, that'd be really, I would love that. Though with Vader, though, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, with Hayden Christensen
Like,
potentially coming back.
Do you know what I think? Okay, this is what I think. I think, yes, if they are going down this road, there will be a cloned version of the Emperor, but I think it'll be a spirit form of Vader.
Yeah, like a force projection.
Like a force ghost,
Force ghost.
appearing to Rey or...
Kylo Ren, I would say.
That would be, yeah, because he
Because-
had the that's one thing we haven't seen since, is the Vader's mask.
Yeah, well, you see, it's because it was a subversion of expectation in Episode 8. And
Still,
characters that were set up to behave one way acted a completely different way, and they called it bold and innovative, and the fan base called it poop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think personally it's going to be like a scene where... Like we've heard rumors because we're on the rumor mill here at Following the Nerd. We love hearing rumors because most of the time they turn out to be nonsense, but every once in a while you get a nice little nugget of gold.
Nugget, yeah.
And we've heard for ages that perhaps there'll be a version of Vader as a Force ghost that's caught between the light side and the dark side.
That would be so cool.
So sometimes he's Anakin, sometimes he's full on Vader.
Could you imagine it morphing? So it's like
Yeah.
a dark energy, but it's morphing from his face to Vader's face.
And it's like a sort of ghostly effect kind of thing going on. I think that would be pretty badass, yeah. But will that have something to do with the fact that... Because they set it up in Episode 8, and I don't know if they're going to continue anything from Episode 8. Because the way that J.J. Abrams and everyone at Lucasfilm has been coming out and talking about this movie, it's basically going to be a reboot of Episode 8.
Like a soft reboot? Or?
So, as in, Episode 8 will be essentially meaningless whenever you go back and watch these movies. Like, you could literally skip from Episode 7 straight to Episode 9, and you wouldn't have missed anything.
Ah, okay.
Which is the case anyway, because Episode 8 basically doesn't do anything.
See, the thing that makes me curious about this with Vader coming back, and it would be pretty cool to see if it was a split, because if you remember with the lightsaber, when it split apart, wouldn't that be pretty cool that one part's the dark energy side, the dark side, and one's the light side, so you would have his soul, because he's connected to the lightsaber.
Well, yeah, because they set that up in Episode 7.
Did
Whenever Rey touched it, she immediately went to Bespin.
Yeah.
During the fight between Luke and Vader.
Luke, yeah. And see, that's what I'm thinking, when Kylo had one side and Rey had the other, that it split apart. Like, we know that Rey has both parts of it.
Yeah.
But I would love to see that.
Or either breaking it in half kind of released Vader as a Force ghost.
I would say, because that's the same lightsaber that he destroyed the entire Jedi Order. So like there's still dark energy there.
It's also the fact that in Episode 8 they did set up the fact that like Kylo Ren and Rey are equals.
Yeah.
In the light and the dark.
Yeah.
So like that's why the lightsaber split, because both of them used their Force powers to try and grab it, and it broke in half because they're so evenly matched. So maybe that's something to do with it. Like, for example, if Rey bests Kylo Ren, the good side will win through and he'll be restored to Anakin, or like with Kylo Ren, the dark side will be restored. And
wouldn't this be pretty cool that Rey has Anakin teaching her things, but you have Vader teaching that? You know, remember this thing I was saying before, like, we've never seen it, but it'd be really cool to see Force ghosts actually fighting one another. Like we did say it before with Snoke and Luke. But could you imagine, instead of having those two out of the way, and have Vader and Anakin in the spirit world fighting, and you have Kylo on the dark side, and you have Rey in the light?
Someone call up Hollywood. We've got script ideas.
We have ideas.
Hire us.
Yeah.
We're not like Ryan Johnson. We are hack frauds, but we're the good kind of hack frauds.
Yeah, that's
true.
You
know, like, we will give you stuff to keep the fans titillated for years to come.
Yeah.
With your extensive knowledge of the expanded universe and my extensive knowledge of being a hack fraud filmmaker, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Kathleen,